In my last video, I said how much I have a thing for good flower print. But alongside my more maximalist style and love of bold fabrics, I also have a serious soft spot for checks or tartan prints. I've collected a bunch of fabric swatches that are no longer being used from my mom, who works as a fashion designer. I've wanted to make something patchwork for a while, but have been hoarding these fabrics, feeling too scared that my beginner skills would mess up whatever I chose to make. I thought I would start out with something easy and low stakes, yet something I would get a lot of use out of. So today, I'm making a patchwork tote bag. Now, I'm following a very detailed video to help me with the pattern making and instructions that I'll link down in the description. I started by constructing the fabrication, and once I've cut out my patchwork pieces to the size that I need, I make sure to go back over the cut seams with a tacking stitch to make sure that they stay in place. Cut out the shape needed for the bag of medium weight interfacing that I iron onto both pieces for the bag. Then cutting the fabric at top and bottom to shape to the interfacing, leaving a 1 cm seam allowance. And then stitching down along the sides. Next, I'm pressing open the seam allowance towards the bag, making sure not to burn my fingers. Then I close the open bottoms. Stitch down. And flipping the bag inside out. For the lining, I didn't have enough fabric lengthwise, so I had to patchwork that together too. Then, with the fabric folded, I'm marking a 5x5 square on the corner that I then cut out. And then on the folded edge at the top, I'm marking a 7x7 square to cut out. And repeat this step for the second piece of lining. Then sew together the lining right sides together, leaving an opening in the bottom to flip out later, and then attached it to the top of the bag, right sides together, sewing with a 1 cm seam allowance at the top. Unfortunately, I forgot to film the flipping of the bag, but once flipped and bottom of the lining is closed, you need to top stitch with about a 1/2 cm seam allowance at the opening and sew up 3 cm from the edge. Then top stitching 3 cm from the top across the sides of the bag to create a channel for the handle. To create the handles, I'm using this cotton twill and marking out 12 by 70 centimeters, which I then fold in half and press. Then fold in each side to press again. And then fold in half again. I then top stitched right along the edge of each side, and then making sure to leave about 6 to 7 centimeters of gap, both at the top and bottom of the handle, to make sure that this can be sewn together once inserted through the bag. With the help of a safety pin, I guided the handle through the 3 cm openings. Then place the ends of the handles right sides together and sew down. And then top stitch the rest of the handle as well. And then we're done. Although this was definitely a beginner's attempt at patchworking, I really love this bag. I love the mix of prints and colors, and I think I'm gonna get a lot of use out of it. I definitely have a lot of ideas for what I want to do next with all my different scraps now, but this was a very fun beginner project and intro to my checkered scrap patchworking. Let me know what you think I should make next with these scraps, and I'll see you in my next one.